Something is going to happen on the 14th of March, and I am talking about this information you are going to become aware of. This information you are going to become aware of, my gorgeous Torini. It is not something that you were not aware of before. It is not something that you didn't know before whatsoever. In fact, this information is also going to be one of the biggest confirmations of your entire life. Trust me, it's going to feel like that. It is going to feel like that. This in itself means that now it's time on this particular day to actually take action on your ideas. Listen to me very carefully. You will also know which ideas I'm talking about and which ideas I'm referring to, because these ideas are going to be completely connected to that particular information you're going to hear. I mean, you don't need to start something enormous. You don't need to do something enormous, but it's all about tapping into this energy. Tapping into this energy, and maybe just read more about certain subjects. Maybe you need to prepare a little bit. Maybe there are certain things that you need to learn. Maybe there are still certain things you need to find out, but you just need to kind of start some kind of a process by directing your energy towards these ideas. The reason why is because when it comes to numerology, sorry, sorry. When it comes to numerology, sorry, when it comes to numerology, my gorgeous Torini, this is an important day when it comes to you planting a spiritual seed as well, in terms of karma and in terms of things happening much quicker, much sooner. This is why this is going to be so important. And also, on another note, my gorgeous Torini, when it comes to the 17th of March, there is somebody who is going to be on your mind persistently. Somebody from your past is going to be on your mind persistently. Somebody who you haven't seen in a very long time, and somebody who you must and who you really need to reconnect with almost immediately. There is a very specific reason that this person is actually going to be on your mind. When I say this, there is a certain person who is going to be on your mind, that this is somebody who you feel very much so really connected to, or you felt connected to that person like a long time ago, but something happened in between, and the life happens really, and then maybe you just drifted apart a little bit. So that person has got like a special place in your heart, and that person will always have a special place in your heart. Perhaps maybe this is like a family member who you haven't seen a long time, or this is like a friend who you haven't seen a long time. It doesn't really matter. On the 17th of March, most certainly you are, trust me, going to be reminded of that person. And whether you like it or not, you are gonna get in touch with that person, because you are meant to spend more time later on with some kind of person like this. When I say with some kind of person like this, it's just somebody who is pretty much so an integral part of your spiritual journey. And this is a very, very special person in your life as well. There are certain people that we do not see our whole life, for example. And then when we see each other, it's just everything is always the same. You did not change in this person's eye, and vice versa, and things like that. This is what I'm talking about. So whether you like it or not, you are going to reconnect with that person. This is your sign that this person is meant to be in your life. This person is destined to be in your life. But most importantly, as soon as you reconnect, as soon as you talk with that person, this is important. That person is going to point something out at you, that person is going to point something to you, something which you completely forgot about, something which is just a major part of you, and something that should be a major part of you, and something that you've been neglecting, and you must not neglect that particular thing anymore, because this in itself, it's also really important from you to not only acknowledge what this is, but also you need to kind of give more energy to that aspect of yourself, to that aspect of your life. The more energy you give to yourself, the more energy you give, the more you're going to reconnect with yourself. This in itself, it's absolutely essential when it comes to your personal evolution. And this is why these people, who are meant to be in our lives, this is why I call them like our guiding lights, literally. Because, sometimes when we find ourselves in the middle of the darkness, they are indeed our guiding lights. And that's exactly what is going to happen here. I'm not saying that that person necessarily knows you better than you know yourself, but sometimes it does feel like that when it comes to the certain people or a specific people in our lives, indeed. And most important and most certainly, this person is one of them. You see what a role this absolutely mind-blowing person is actually going to play in your life. This is very deep. It's very, very deep in so many different ways. Just remember that it's to do with an important aspect of yourself, which is going to be at that moment in time immediately uncovered. And this is something that you need to give more of your precious energy towards. But to start with, you need to identify what this is. My gorgeous Torini, you see, that's why this is important. Okay, absolutely brilliant. And also, when it comes to the beginning of this week, my gorgeous Torini, this is absolutely crazy, because you are really going to, first of all, something is really going to inspire you. What is going to happen right at the beginning of this week, within the first couple of days, something is really going to inspire you, and you're going to see something. You're literally going to see something, and your vibration is going to be like, oh my God, what's happening? What are you going to see? It's, basically going to inspire you, and it's going to remind you of something that has been on your mind for such a long time. What are you going to see? It's going to inspire you purely because this is pretty much so a lot to do with your own vision, how you want your life to be. And at that moment in time, this is really going to trigger something within you so beautifully, my gorgeous Torini. At that moment in time, something is going to be triggered within you, and you will know what to focus on, whether you want it or not. You're going to become so creative, you're going to become really optimistic, you're going to feel like you haven't felt in a long time. And at that moment in time, my God, you are literally going to start slowly but surely starting to snap out of those things that have been making you think in a negative way, within the last 2 or 3 months. And that has been causing a little bit of, when it comes to, lack of creativity, like for example. But you're also going to understand 2 things. You're going to need to set the boundaries, but at the same time, you are going to need to kind of declare something. 3 things. And the third thing is you are going to need to really have an important conversation with somebody as well. You're going to need to talk to somebody and explain something to somebody. I know it sounds really silly, but I think that this is going to be absolutely obvious what this is. Even more so, day or 2 after that moment in time, my goodness, my gorgeous Torini, just a day or 2 after that moment in time, my voice came back. Thank you. My goodness, my goodness. It wouldn't be the first time where my voice would just like basically go, so a day or 2 after, my gorgeous Torini, the things are going to become even more remarkable for you, because you are really going to decide like to move forward with your life, because now it's not only about this inspiration, but a couple of days after that moment in time, you are going to discover something so interesting, something so interesting. Couple of days after that moment in time, you are going to discover something very, very interesting that it's going to require from you to kind of look into it a little bit deeper. Okay, so just remember, a couple of days after that moment in time, you are going to discover something very, very interesting. And what are you going to discover? It's going to require from you to look into this situation a little bit deeper, which is exactly what you're going to do. By doing this, you need to understand that already you're moving forward with your life. So 2 days later, when you discover something very, very interesting, which is going to require from you to look into it a little bit deeper, already at that moment in time, believe me or not, you are moving on with your life. Now you need to focus on those things. You need to pay attention to those things which are bringing love and comfort into your life. And at the same time, you need to understand that you have all the resources you possibly need, inner and outer. And you also need to understand that you need to be willing to let go of a past version of yourself. You need to be willing to let go of a past version of yourself. Okay, so this is ever so important, and that means that you are also gonna need to be patient. Okay, you're gonna need to be patient indeed, and a part of this will be starting something new, and a part of this is also going to be standing up for what you believe in, my gorgeous Torini. Just remember, part of all this is gonna be you starting something new. Part of all this is gonna be you starting something new, and part of this is also going to be you standing up for what you believe in. And I do know for the fact that there is going to be on your mind, yes or no, yes or no. Something is going to be driving you crazy here. Like it's going to be yes or no, yes or no. You're going to be like all over the place. And the answer is most certainly, most importantly, my gorgeous Torini, going to be big, fat yes, indeed, okay? Absolutely brilliant. Okay, I do like this because this is bringing a really, really beautiful balance into your life, but in exactly like about 11 days time, only in 11 days time after this moment in time, you are really going to realize what a potential this is actually going to bring into your life, and what a potential is connected to all this. Not that you weren't aware of this before, but trust me, there is gonna be a beautiful, 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 gorgeous, out of this world surprise that you are going to have in as little as 11 days after that moment in time. And when you have that beautiful surprise in exactly 11 days after that moment in time, you know the day is gonna be very unusual, very different. There are certain things that are gonna happen that are gonna seem like a dream. Things are gonna seem like you're in some kind of a dream. You're gonna feel like you're in some kind of a different dimension, and that is gonna contribute for this to actually make an even bigger impact on your life. And the bigger impact this makes, when you become aware of what's actually gonna come up in the form of a gorgeous surprise in 11 days, this is gonna be a remarkable stage of your life, and absolutely an outstanding starting point where there is so much going to become clear to you that hasn't been clear before, and it's going to become obvious to you also in midst of all these uncertainties. And I'm saying all these uncertainties because you're going to surprise yourself how strong and powerful you're going to feel to move on with your life. And this uncertainty, there are certain uncertainties that would normally put you off, but now you're going to surprise yourself, and you're going to be able to notice this element, how you've actually changed. And this is going to really make you feel fantastic about yourself as well. By the time you get to the mid part of this week, my gorgeous Torini, let me tell you, you are going to really pretty much you're going to realize that you are having some kind of a lack of progress here, but this lack of progress that you're going to realize it's really to do with some kind of conflict which you've had in between you and somebody else. And I have seen this person before, my gorgeous Torini. I have seen this person before. I have seen somebody whom you had some kind of disagreement or a conflict in the past, and that person is somebody who is not a bad person, who's actually a really good person, and the things in between you two just went, oh my God, on such an unnecessary level. And sometimes it happens. People can fight, people can have an argument, and certain amount of time passes and people just can't even remember why did they fight and why did they have an argument, like basically in the first place. I'm sorry, but it is one of those situations here. I think that when it comes to this disagreement, and please don't get me wrong, but I think that maybe please don't get me wrong, but I think that maybe you overreacted a little bit, you know. There is something that, I don't know, maybe you just overreacted a little bit when it comes to somebody else, because this other person whom you had an argument or disagreement with, it's actually a really, really good person, and they don't know how to express themselves properly. They maybe have a problems with their emotions, you know. There are lots of people like that. People want to express their emotions and say how they feel, but sometimes people just don't know how to do this, or you know, do you know what I mean? Like, people are different basically, but in this case I do think that this is somebody really, really lovely basically. But yeah, anyway, so you know, there is going to be the lack of a progress which you are going to have this person when it comes to this conflict, you know, and you are really gonna realize everything that I said, you know, and maybe you were like kind of really stubborn about it, but something is gonna change here, and for the first time in a very, very long time, you're gonna realize that not necessarily, I'm not saying you caused this, but you will realize that it's a lot kind of down to you and up to you. You know, you're holding all this in your hands. I think that person, it's absolutely fine to reconnect with you or whatever. So it's entirely down to you and up to you, my gorgeous Torini here. Indeed. And you're going to realize this. And I'm so, so, so glad, because it's just you realizing this. You're already kind of in a different world, in a different dimension. You're already going to start drifting like closer to each other. And I repeat, this is somebody who is a really good person, and you definitely should reconnect. And it's not only that, but as I said, for the first time in a long time, you are gonna feel like, you know what, I really want to reconnect. And you will see this is going to have such a beautiful impact on your life, because the healing progress, it's actually going to take place. Believe me or not, subconsciously you were really suffering because of this disagreement in between you and somebody else. You were suffering a lot, and you were fighting a lot with yourself, and you were maybe even dishonest with yourself at times, you know, and now this has all come to an end. But all these negative energies have been like kind of causing your healing progress to kind of slow down a little bit. So now the healing progress in itself is going to take over, and you are really going to have one of the little spiritual awakenings here, because now suddenly you are really going to make an important decision here, and you're not even going to realize that these things are actually connected, but this is the direct result of you being honest with yourself. Not that long after that moment in time, you're going to make an important decision about something that you've been indecisive about for so long, like, oh my God. And that particular decision which you're going to make, it's going to be consisting of you detaching yourself, you know, detaching yourself from things that, you know, are not only making you feel hopeless, but also detaching yourself from the things that you're finding it very, very hard to let go of. And this is important for you to detach yourself from, because that was kind of causing you to have to think in a negative way, so the big massive blockage, it's going to be released here as a direct result of you reconnecting with that very, very special person in your life. And I repeat, you know, not necessarily you've done something wrong, but I think that you have kind of overreacted a little bit when it came to some kind of disagreement or argument. But that other person, bless their heart, they were suffering quite a lot out of all this. So this is why you are making an impact right now on your life and on somebody else's life. On one hand, you're gonna get closer together, which is brilliant, but then on another hand, as a direct result of you doing the right thing karmically, you see what I mean? You are the massive blockage, it's about to be removed, and this is absolutely brilliant. This in itself, it's really kind of gonna pretty much so lead towards, you know, you becoming be aware of, you know, big changes and opportunities that are gonna kind of help you, you know, to understand better what you want and what you need in your life, you know, whether it's a hard work or not. And normally you would be like, oh God, you know, you would question too many things because certain things have been kind of left resolved in the past. Now that's getting clear, the air is getting clear, so you are most certainly and most importantly moving on, my gorgeous Torini, indeed. By the time you get to the last part of this week, now we are talking, listen to me very carefully, it's like, ooh la la baby, it's a very complex week. Indeed, it is a complex week because it's a lot to do with a little bit of everything, really. At the end of this week, you will become aware of this reunion. This is really going to surprise you, this reunion that you're going to become aware of. And when you become aware of this reunion, something is going to happen really quickly, and you are going to find yourself being part of this reunion. And there is one specific person when it comes to that reunion, you know, and that particular person, it's really gonna somebody mature, somebody very grounded, somebody very successful, somebody very powerful, somebody who's not aware of like trying things, somebody who's not afraid of trying things. And that particular person, it's actually really going to, you know what, that particular person is really going to inspire you. And it's also like kind of as a real, you're going to realize a very, very interesting idea through that particular person, a very interesting idea through that particular person. That particular person is going to answer one of the biggest questions you had lately. That particular person is going to answer one of the biggest questions you've had lately. And you know what that question is going to be, my gorgeous Torini? Whether you should take a certain risk or not. Whether you should take a certain risk or not. Whether you should take a certain risk or not. So most certainly the answer is actually going to be yes. You have no idea how important is again this going to be. Not only you will understand clearly and realize which risk do you need to take, but the energy that is going to rub off on you through this wonderful person is going to be amazing, that you're not even going to see this as a risk anymore. You're going to see this like something which you cannot wait to do whatsoever. There are so many questions which are going to be answered to you through this particular person. Your eyes are going to be open. You will know things you wanted to know for a while now, but you're also going to find out about certain things you never knew before. And at the same time, not only that, my gorgeous Torini, this person is going to be like a light at the end of the tunnel, the beginning of a very special recovery when it comes to you, the beginning of one of the most important stages of your life when it comes to you improving your life, my gorgeous Torini, and the beginning of when you're gonna let go of negativity and stress as well. Absolutely brilliant indeed. Okay, my gorgeous Torini, thank you ever so much for watching my videos. I'm sending you brightest blessings, lots of love, healing, peace and light to every single one of you. Sasha Bonasin, Psychic Medium. Love you. Bye.